things aren't quiet, but they're, people aren't melting as hard, but they still kind of are. You're starting to see some of that, which we'll get into in a bit. But let's talk about Monday Night Raw first. And I want to talk about Raw. So I forget where the hell they were, but basically Randy Orton came back and CM Punk came back, their first Raws in how long? So the show kicks off with Randy Orton. He comes out, he's just vibing the crowd, bro. You can just see he's vibing it. He's absorbing it. He's taking his time. He's talking to the crowd and being like, give me a second. Like, I haven't done this. You can tell he's just so happy to be back in wrestling in the WWE, and that makes me so happy to see that. I don't know, man. I think we're going to get some of his best performances, and he's just jackied. Everyone's saying it. Everyone's seeing it, right? Basically starts cutting a promo. Mommy comes out. Orton drops the line, and they already got t-shirts for it. Yo, mommy, daddy's back. So I don't know. That was a good line that someone had to drop eventually. They just basically trade barbs. They're both money in the bank, and it sets up a match where Orton's going to take on Dominic Mysterio later in the night, and it's just perfect. And for everyone who was like, oh, I'm sick of seeing Cody Rhodes versus the gang, like it's going to be Judgment Day and the Cody Rhodes Scooby bunch, I'm getting so sick of it, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But then that's when things like this happen, where Randy Orton comes back, and it just pops people, and it gets it more over, and it carries the stories along. And this is why WWE, it's not that they're repeating, it's just that by the time you see, it's just, they know what they're doing. Like, they're building Dominic, the Judgment Day, and them, like, they're making it so it's a show you want to see with just those core people. And then when the Ortons and Punks show up, or Lesnar pops, everyone stop talking about Lesnar. He's going to pop up again soon. It's Rumble season almost. In 9 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that, 10 weeks. Like, Lesnar's going to pop up when Roman decides to come out and play. It just makes it feel all that much more exciting. And so this is exactly why this works. It's not just like overload of all the shit you want. Like, I don't know, man. Just the way WWE, people have gotten on my ass, been like online on social media, this is like corporate jargon. This is corporate verbatim jargon. Yeah, because I'm in their meetings speaking the corporate lingo. Like, no, dude, it's what it is. Just objectively, WWE's like a campus or like a league. It's like the UFC, right? The UFC is like a league. These other promotions like, oh, Bellator and all that, yeah, it's great, but they'll let their guys go box, and they'll let their guys, fight a kickboxing match, and then they'll fight under this umbrella. Now, that's cool and everything. As a mark, I enjoy that, and I like that, there's an A company like AEW, but where, like, you can go see Moxley wrestle in GCW, and you can see Osprey wrestle in New Japan. But I talked about it on the last show, man. Exclusivity. Like, okay, so Osprey signed with AEW, and he still can wrestle in New Japan, and then they won't say no if he wants to go to Rev Pro or whatever the fuck he's doing. So where's the exclusivity? Why am I excited that this guy is like, I'm excited that Randy's back because he's a fucking legend and he's only gonna be there. And shout out Jericho. He does, he just showed up in Chris Jericho, that is, obviously, dummy. He showed up in a house show in like Singapore. Good for him. Like, good for you, good for spreading wrestling around. That's legend shit. But it's also when you still have a run in you, which we're going to talk about in a bit here when it comes to the Hardy Boys, when you still have a run in you, or you still feel like you do, and you want to do it properly. I mean, not to say that showing up in Singapore isn't doing it. Like, Jericho's doing it his way, and Edge goes to AEW to take money and shit. That's all good. Like, they deserve the right to do what they want, but not everybody should be just doing what they want. And there's something about exclusivity of having a superstar that's yours, or a wrestler that's just yours, and you can only tune into this show to see this person. That is what makes these moments so exciting, and that's what makes WWE like a league or a campus. People go, that's the corporate jargon. How so? I'm just stating what it is. Like, it makes sense if Chad Gable challenges Cody Rhodes one night or something, because we know that they're all working their way up the rankings for a championship. In AEW, it's unclear what people want, like, truly, because this is why. There's no distinctive divisions. There's no distinction between, oh, here's the trios, and then randomly we'll stick like a tag team with another random person, and then they'll just be a trios for this week. You know what I mean? Like, look at the AEW tag division. It's completely sullied and in the shits because they didn't establish any tag teams other than really the Acclaimed, the Young Bucks we all knew, the Lucha Bros, sure, but they muddied them up by throwing them, oh, are they a trio? Are they a tag? Are they a trio? Are they single? They muddied that up a lot too. And then you had guys like the Iron Savages. You have guys like the Butcher and the Blade, like the Hardys and shit. Like, you could have really established that tag division. They don't. And that's the thing with WWE. They really let you know who's chasing what title, what everyone's goals are, why they're doing what they're doing. In AEW, you don't, like, yes, I love Roosh versus Danielson. I'll watch that match 1,000 times. But imagine how much more I'll love it if there's a reason behind it all. Right. So I criticize these shows for the same things. It's just that AEW, it's not like it's its own league. It's like it's like just a place you stop at when you're wrestling all over the place. Whereas WWE, the reason they do it the way they do that is because when you're there, you're in their system, you made it. This is the holy grail. You know, in AEW, it's not that way. It's like, okay, anyone can come in, anyone can go, no one's exclusive. The only people who are exclusive are the guys who that's their gimmick, or they just realize, like, I can just make a shitload of money and not go beat up my body on other indies and shit like that. This isn't, again, I'm talking about Raw, but it's a bury AEW fest, but I'm really not trying to bury AEW. It's just that's the big difference when, you know, we say like WWE's like a league here, you know? So Orton comes in, you know, we know what he's there to do. He wants to get back at the bloodline. There's a title at the end of the bloodline. What's the Judgment Day there to do? Get championships, run the show, dictate their own future, not leave it up to other people. These are all things that, like, I can get behind and I understand, right? They all have vocation. They all have purpose. So, yeah. So just all you marks going at me online saying, oh, that's corporate jargon talk. I mean, I wish it was, you know, I wish I fucking worked for a major wrestling company. I really do. And I would do the best job I possibly could. So Randy Orton's back. They set up the main event. Dom stepping up to the plate in a crazy way. Also on the show, we had like they kicked things off with like a tag team turmoil match. And there was a bunch of teams. And basically the Creed brothers, they're getting the monster push right now for tag teams. I don't see it yet. I think those are the guys who should have came in and just joined the Alpha Academy. And then Maxine could break off with Otis and do their own thing, something like that. Or maybe not even Otis leaves, or I don't know. They should just be a part of the Alpha Academy as like the young come-ups. I don't know. I just feel like they're pushing them too quick. You know, I feel like they're just not ready. Like, I'm not invested in them, and they're just kind of green. Like, they're green. It's just kind of like spot. And obviously you got to give them rounds on Raw, right? They didn't just strap the belts on them. But in a match like this, you might as well, where you beat every other fucking tag team in the division, right? So speaking of building tag divisions, right? So we also had Reed and Ivar, the Battle of the Gaijus. They fought to a double countout, which, okay, cool. We also see Reed on NXT, which we'll talk about. I should also pull up SmackDown here as well, because I want to talk about that as well. But we had Zoe Stark. She lost to Nia Jax. Good. And, I mean, there's not much there. And then our main event, which was just a banger. Dom selling his ass off. Randy just having so much fun, being so hyped to be there. Think about how hot WWE's baby faces are right now. You got Sami Zayn.
What?
You got Randy
What?
Orton. You got Cody Rhodes.
What?
You got CM Punk.
What?
You got LA Knight.
What?
It's like, this is the superstar era. People go, what should be the name of this era of WWE? I say the superstar era. And it sounds so weird but it is. It's like an amalgamation of the Attitude Era and the 80s. Like that could be considered the superstar era as well. But it's like, this is the perfect amalgamation of both of those things, where it's like a lenient PG product, PG-13 or whatever product, but everyone's larger than life. Everyone's super over. Oh, we forgot Seth Rollins, but I think a heel turn might come for him too, sooner rather than later. Because you got to think Damian Priest is going to switch too. You know, his whole thing is leading to him switching and being out of the Judgment Day eventually. I digress. And then we get bam, 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 bam. I don't know if it's stealing Cornette's bit or not. I don't know. I don't talk about cheeseburgers, but I just like singing, look in my eyes. What do you see? So people are mad as shit at CM Punk, man. It's hilarious. So he cuts this promo and he basically just he alludes to the old pipe bomb. Oh man, I watched this WWE playlist on their YouTube. If you haven't, go check out WWE on YouTube and listen to their playlist, or not listen, pardon me, watch rather, their playlist of CM Punk's career in WWE, the highlights. Fuck, man. I rewatched it. It's like an hour and a half long. And it was just memory lane, reminded me of so much shit I had forgot, just brought me back, me realizing, holy shit, dude, WWE ECW was super over with people for a while there too, you know? Like for a while that shit was super hot with people. Just remembering that and God, just seeing him like looking back and just like he's not even the same guy anymore. And I'm not talking like personality wise, just physically, mentality, just remembering like how long he used that his original theme. I forget the name, but he used it forever too. Like I forgot, like, yeah, Cult of Personality was really the end of his run. Like it's so associated with him. And God, it was so great, man. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time, CM Punk. One of the guys who helped get me back into wrestling when I was lulling out and just being like, I don't know about any of this anymore. You know, it was him and Danielson and Shield and the Wyatt family, you know, that was, and Paige and Emma, you know, and Neville and Bo Dallas. Like that was the shit that really started turning around for me. But anyways, Punk comes out and he gets a pretty big pop, man. The crowd's chanting for him. He does his promo, you know, he alludes to the pipe bomb, you know, in the ring, on the mic, on commentary. No one can touch him. Da 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 da. So he didn't talk about AEW. He didn't bury them. He did run a victory lap as the show went off air, and he also looked in the camera and said, I'm here to make money. I'm not here to make friends. And we got to drop Punky a fucking bomb for that one. Here, we'll drop Exactly. It's the wrestling business, and if people are still buying into like, oh, Seth's mad and Drew's mad, which we're going to talk about that in a minute too, about Drew McIntyre. People thinking that these people are mad that Punk's there. They're not. They're not. Okay. And again, I'm going to shout out Billy Body, who on his show, he was talking about, look, and he brought up a great point. Fuck whatever you think about him. I'm just talking about his wrestling news. He brought up a great point saying, you know, like you have guys like Roman Reigns stays in a whole ass different hotel. Or like he gets like private gym access and he takes a fucking bus and gets brought in through like a loading ramp and he gets his own dressing room. And you have Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch on their own tour bus. And you have Cody Rhodes who came in and gets his own tour bus. And Randy Orton's on his own bus. And Ronda Rousey was getting private flights and a bus and all this shit, right? And it's just like you get all these guys that get these special treatment. You know, Punk's not even going to have to interact with anyone backstage. And not only that, they were all told about it and they're cool because this is the landscape of wrestling now. WWE rather, big fight feel. Everybody, as Cody Rhodes says it, like everyone you think that they didn't talk to him and go, okay, this is a ship. Saint the Punk show. Not that we're even worried you're going to do that, but as Cody Rhodes said, like this is a tight-knit ship. And we're moving in this direction. And if you want to come contribute to what we have going on, great. Everyone's just like, give it countdown, give it time till he's gone. It's not going to happen, dude. He's going to throw it in y'all's faces. He's going to end up main eventing WrestleMania like he never got to do. It's going to get thrown in your guys. They're going to do a Wembley show and he'll be on it. Maybe not that, but it's just like they're going global right now all over the world. You don't think they're eyeing Wembley? Like, especially after this, All In doesn't do nearly as well as the other, everyone pretended the other one did. Shout out Tony Khan. But, you know, people are mad that he didn't bring up AEW, really. But all I'm seeing online is the only people mad he didn't bring up AEW is AEW fans. They're like hard done by. And then we saw more melties. And the melties galore. It all goes away. It's all noise. And Punk's going to come back, have some great matches. But now we're seeing the hit pieces come out about Meltzer saying shit like, oh, WWE sold 1,400 tickets this last week, and there's going to be a lot of angry fans that Punk's not on Raw. And it's like, Dave, shut the fuck up, man. No one's mad that Punk isn't going to be on Raw. They advertised where he's going to be. He's going to be on SmackDown this week. Nobody's mad about it. It's just basically propaganda hit piece bullshit. Oh, there's language in Punk's contract about, oh, it's just such bullshit, man. And if you guys give these people money, I feel so bad for you, especially when on PWT, man, I be saying this shit that they're saying, dude, I told you guys that Punk was going to come back. And you get so many marks in the comments too going, oh, bro wants to feel like he's a part of something. Yeah, that's what WWE does, dumb fuck. It's a generational thing where the fans are a part of it. People share it with their kids, their grandkids. That's what pro wrestling is, you idiot. The fans, it's the one thing. Like, that's the thing that wins over casuals and people who aren't fans or lapsed fans. I've done it. I've brought regular friends to shows who don't watch wrestling, and they always leave and go, it's the best time ever because you feel like you're part of the show. Now, don't be a mark for yourself while being a part of said show, but it's what it is, bro. It's live interact. All the wrestlers say it. Like, anyone who's ever gotten on a stage and tried to rip before, bro, the moment you want it, you better never let lose yourself in the music. But like, anyone who's ever done that knows that feeling, bro. Like, it's something about that. Even if when you eat shit, it's like something everyone should experience almost, you know? Just because, I don't know, it gives you a whole new perspective on shit. Anyways, they're boo-booing on Punk's return and everything. They're doing everything they can. And now Sean Ross Sapp and all these guys who's wrestled a fucking match with Shazza McKenzie. Fucking, gross. And I'm not saying, oh, gross, like, oh, you shouldn't get in a ring, but you got to do Will Sasso. If you get in a ring with a pro, I don't care if it's a girl or not, you got to just get your ass beat. You know, unless you're fighting a clear jobber and you're taking your body seriously, you got to do the Will Sasso and just get your ass beat. You can't be actually bumping wrestlers around, dude. Anyways, these guys, you know, they all told you the wrong information. They took everyone's money, and then now they're saying they have the real information. Now Meltzer knows. Now Meltzer all of a sudden just knows about the inner workings, and Fightful knows the inner workings. Shout out Fightful, by the way. Like, I don't pay for their shit, but I read their Twitter and I retweet them a bunch. But you guys know what I'm saying here. Like, they all didn't have the info. Now they have the info. Now they know. It's crazy to me. So, you know, the only people mad that CM Punk didn't bring up AEW is AEW fans, and that's the truth. Moving along here, NXT, it was pretty good. I mean, I don't know, the Stax family or whatever they're called, the family, the D'Angelo family, they won the tag belts back. I think that was last week, or maybe that was this week. I don't remember, but either way, man, all they did was Roxanne Perez was brawling all over the arena, and then they had this crazy fatal four-way match with Bronson Reed, a.k.a. Jonah, Cameron Grimes, Johnny Gargano, and Wes Lee. Wes Lee pulls off the win. Cool, I guess. I don't know why Reed and Grimes are just like, and Gargano are all just, yeah, we're all, because they're former North American champions, but we're all on the main roster. Let's come back down and try and challenge Dom. I guess that's cool, whatever. This match was a banger, though. But it was just like spot fest, you know, and that's what, again, WWE, like they don't do it all the time. They give it to you once in a while, you know? And again, like, I don't know if you're like a fan of AEW, I don't know how you watch NXT and you aren't a fan of this shit. You know, it's like a better version of what AEW feels like it's trying to do, in my opinion. And everyone's exclusive. Other than like, oh, these guys can go to the main roster. But like, again, I've been saying for months and months and months and months, I don't even see a distinction really anymore, you know, because the level you got to be at to even be on NXT is, I don't know, pretty high level. So NXT was what it was. I didn't see Impact. I didn't get a chance to catch it. I wish I did. So AEW was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we had this. Now this Dynamite was really fucking good. Besides the MJF segment, and I'm not gonna lie, Obviously, the first match, it was Jay Lethal and Jon Moxley. You guys know, I don't know. Mox, he gets the win, obviously. I think they're going to let him win this tournament or else Swerve, because everyone wants Swerve to be world champ, but they're never going to put that, like, that belt's not coming off Max forever. He's like truly all they got at this point. Again, I'm not talking talent wise in the ring. And this show, though, man, was formatted great. The matches weren't a million minutes long. The main event went long, which was cool, but it caused an argument with Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez, which is fucking hilarious. I cannot wait. We're gonna go over that, because it is just hilarious how these two are fighting now multiple times. Like, Alvarez is getting sick of shilling for AEW. You can tell. And Meltzer's just doing everything he can to scratch and claw to keep up whatever, the momentum, if you will, or whatever fucking charade he's been pulling for years now at this point. But anyways, this show was formatted incredibly well. And it had some solid matches on it. Now, Moxley, Lethal, whatever. I'm not the biggest Mox fan anymore. Dude, someone posted on X, like, all of these highlights of Dean Ambrose's shit. Like, all the funny and awesome shit he was doing in WWE. And, man, he was so good back then. Like, I used to never appreciate Ambrose. I was always like, whatever. Like, Mox, when he came to AEW, I was like, awesome, because I'd seen him work some house shows and shit, and he really, you can tell he cares about wrestling and shit. But when he went to AEW, I was like, word, we're gonna get the because they did try to bury his ass on the way out, let's be honest. And I saw him on a house show like a week before he left, and he was in a 4-way dance, elimination style, for the Intercontinental title, and he ate like 2 moves, got stomped by Balor, pinned out. Like, they were jobbing him on house shows. They were going to have him lose to Nia Jax. They had EC3 beat his ass. So they were fucking with him at the end of his run. And that's probably why he's resentful. But that being said, goddamn, he was good as Dean Ambrose. And you can tell what Vince, like, that's the thing, man. Vince sees something in people, and then he says, like, no, you're unhinged. You're a lunatic. You're crazy. Like, you're like a wacky guy. You're a goofy, wacky guy. And they don't understand. Like, it seems like Mox resents that, but he doesn't understand. Like, no, dude, they saw in you what you were so good at doing, and they even put the WWE title on you, and you made it work. And it's not like, oh, everything you want to do, but it's what's best for business, and it's what's best for the overall landscape of wrestling. But I mean, I guess you could argue AEW and creating competitions was also better for the landscape. So that being said, though, Moxley Lethal, it is what it is. There's people's heads melting as well over the Continental Classic round robin table. I don't know, guys, watch sports. Like, it just exposes how many people, and yeah, I'm talking to the E-drones as well, like how many people don't watch sports that watch wrestling nowadays. Part of me years ago, I would compare wrestling to, like, it's the closest thing to real life comic books. It's the closest thing to real life superheroes and supervillains playing out in front of us. That's why people like WWE or professional wrestling in general, larger than life characters and storylines and relatability and good versus evil and good triumphing over evil, etc., anti-heroes and all that stuff. And I think that's the best comparison. But that being said as well, like, it should be a sporting contest, right? Like, it's a fucking sporting contest. I mean, if you guys haven't seen a round robin tournament of, like, hockey, like, I don't know, I'm from Canada, so we do round robins in the worlds that are the Olympics, whatever. It's just, you watch soccer. I don't know. I'm a New Japan mark as well, so I've seen these things play out before. It's, if you can't add 3 plus 3 plus 3, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. It is a little it doesn't work so well. People are giving AEW credit for doing this first. TNA did this first. They did similar round robin type things. So I just don't think it, like, really works in modern. I don't even think it's necessary. But I'm into it. I'm not going to lie. I like it. I like the idea and the prospect of it all. But that being said, Moxley wins. He chokes and taps out Jay Lethal after hitting him with a few finishers. I've said it before, Mox and Will Ospreay, they're burying their own shit and they don't realize it. So then Nature Boy comes out with Sting and Shivani. Actually, sorry, they're backstage and they snap. They go off on, I don't know, this promo got me super hyped. They're going back to the Greensboro Coliseum, daddy. Woo! And people are mad at Ric Flair, and I'm not going to talk about Rampage because it's bullshit, but they filmed it after Dynamite, and Flair cut a promo, and he is like, yeah, like, come back to 18 to 28-year-old girls, come back to my room, woo! And it triggered everyone, and it's just like, you guys, we got to stop this, like, oh, why are you dating someone half your age? Okay, you've never been laid, dude. Like, for real, man. Dude, girls typically like to date older fucking guys. They don't like dudes their age. And then older girls tend to try and date younger guys. I think I just saw a thing in Variety magazine or some shit. Jane Fonda was like, I can't date anyone older than 20. She's like 70. She's like, I can't date anyone older than they're in their 20s because I don't like old face or something. So, like, if you don't hang out around women, you don't know how they get down. Like, typically, younger women like older dudes, and older women like younger dudes, okay? And it's it's the same with guys, except, you know what I mean? Like, when you're a teenager, oh, cougars. And then you get older and you're like, I'll date a 24-year-old or whatever, you know? Now, I'm not saying, like, be a creep and creep on high schoolers. I think that's weird. I've always been this way. I think we go, oh, 18, you're an adult. I've always been like, I think we should all reformat the world to be 20 is when you're an adult. Because, like, 18, you're an adult, but the drinking age is 21, or it's 19 in some places. But you can go to war and get blowed up and die for your country, and you can buy a pack of cigarettes, but you can't win the lottery here in this state, but you can, in this province, you can drink when you're 18 and here when you're 19. We should just agree, like, if teen's in your name, maybe this is me just projecting my own shit. I'm just saying, like, if teen's in your name, I just think, like, okay, teen is still teen, you know? So maybe we should just go 20 and everyone can stop crying. Because once you're 20, I think if you're a 20-year-old girl, you want to date a 40-year-old, you want to date a 20-year-old, you want to date a 30-year-old, I think you're mature enough to agree. I can understand how, if you've ever met a 16 or 17-year-old, they're malleable, they're like, not shitting on teenagers, but they're dumb, you know, like, they think they know everything and the world is owed to them, and then, you know, the older they get, they realize how wrong they fucking were. We've all been there, you know. So, like, what's the difference between a 17 and 18-year-old? I don't know, but that's where the law and where everyone seems to agree, no, 18's adult. So if we all agree on 18, now, I just put my shit. I think we should all agree on 20. But if we all agree 18's adult, then 18's adult. And if a 70-year-old man says 18-year-olds come back, woo, there's no 18-year-olds lining up to hook up with Flair. Maybe there is, though. You know, there is girls who are like, yeah, I'll date a 70-year-old till he dies and take his fortune. You know, that's happened for a million times over and over again. So who the fuck are we to judge what other people do? This is what I'm getting at. Who cares who people fuck, as long as you're not like a predator on children, or you're not harming anyone? Like, who gives a fuck, man? He just said the old Ric Flair adage, you know, it's the oldest ride with the longest line or whatever, right? That's been his line forever, dude. So, like, shout out Ric Flair. Let him be Nate. Fuck the haters. He's earned the right to go get his money from AEW. He earned the right to go get paid to just hang out with Sting. He earned that right in my book. If his shit triggers you, like, dude, you're a fucking moron. That's all I gotta say. You're cool, but, like, you know, grow up about it, for real, man. It's, you know, he wasn't like, hey, I'll be at the middle school. Come to my... He's not doing that. He's saying, if you're 18 to 28. I mean, come on. That's fair enough. What would he have said? And people go, and you just see responses like, oh, creeping on girls half your age. I mean, have you ever worked in a bar? You see older guys with like 3 younger girls and shit, and they're all cool, man, all the time. You know, you see that. I don't know. Get out in the world, guys. I'm sorry if that like triggers you. But my stance is, I've been saying this forever. Like, I think 20 should be like the, you know, I think if teen's in your name, we all got to just agree on that. America, Canada, Europe, wherever. Well, actually, Europe would freak out because for them, it's like 16 or something. You can start drinking booze and going out. I read something where it could be bullshit. Who knows? But it said, like, you shouldn't consume any alcohol until the age of like 40 or something. Like, every drink drinking before the age of 40 severely damages your brain or something. So I'm fucked. Yeah. So on Rampage, I don't know, people were triggered. Who gives a shit? Continental Classic Gold League match. So Mark Briscoe versus Roosh. Roosh gets a big win. Shout out Mark, man, he's great. And Roosh, man, I love this guy. He just beats the shit out of people. He should be international champ. You want to build a star, he's got it all right there. He's got the look, the size, the presence, the style. He can go any style. He sells great. He's vicious and he's believable. And I don't know what else more you need. Like, what do you need, man? You like, really? Orange Cassidy really is the international champ? Really? You know, you got Roosh right there. You got Jay White right there. It's a travesty. Honestly, you have Miro right there. That's your division. You build the division around those three fucking guys for like a year. Throw in another, throw in a Ray Phoenix or a Penta. Not to stay on that forever, but we get Timeless Toni Storm backstage. She cuts a great promo again where she's like, oh, we were up drinking till all hours, party favors, and she's taking her shoes off, putting them up on RJ City. Mariah May's just standing there. I said it before, like, they're just banking on knowing Mariah May's a wrestler. For most people, they don't even know she's a wrestler. It would have served you well. You signed her at Full Gear right around then. Why didn't you debut her at Full Gear and cut off one of those? Like, why did the Bucks and Jericho and them even need to wrestle on the pay-per-view? It's crazy. Or put her on the pre-show. Like, do something to introduce her and go, yeah, she can wrestle really well, and she's going to stand out for Tony, and you're going to figure out why. It's all good, though. Anything Tony's doing is money. I'm not complaining about getting to look at Mariah May, and Luther's doing his. I'm glad they got Luther doing this as well. This is way better than that other shit he was doing. And he looks the part well, and this is all good stuff, man. Toni Storm is money, money, money. We've talked about it a million times. So then MJF comes out to the ring. And at this point, this Dynamite was paced really well, formatted really well. But then this was, he's marking out for Samoa Joe. He brings up WWE. Guys like Rhodes, Punk, Danielson, Jericho, Moxley, Omega. But all of the names, and it's like all of those guys are WWE guys, bro. Either they were or they are, other than Kenny. And it's just like, and Kenny, everyone's saying it. Everyone's finally again saying, I gotta drop a fucking dummies, yeah.
Dummy, yeah.
Because if you've been listening to this show, your fucking boy Phil Marks has been saying forever, Kenny Omega would be sauce in WWE. And now everyone's repeating what the fuck I've been saying. Just like other news that we'll bring up later, not even really news, but just things that I notice that other people I don't think notice. Call it pattern recognition, call it good foresight. I'm not sure, but what I am sure of is now you got even AEW fans going, damn, in WWE, he's a good entertainer, though. He'd be great over here, da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, that's what I've been saying. Just all of his shit, like his facials, his posturing, his pacing, all that stuff would go over so well in WWE. But besides that, MJF just names all these WWE guys, and it's just like, you guys can't, and it's hilarious. Tony Khan, so bringing it back to the Punk thing, they're all saying, Punk couldn't talk about Tony Khan and AEW on the mic because of NDAs. It's like, it's not even that. It's like, why the fuck would they even talk about it? But the whole thing is like, all AEW and MJF does is they fucking just talk about WWE all the time. But then Tony's got everyone on NDA, so they can't talk about AEW ever. It's fucking complete baby bullshit, man. It's just more of good for me, not for thee mentality. Yeah, let's talk about WWE all the time. It'll be great, huh? But then no one can talk about AEW and they leave NDAs. It's under wraps. Now, some people go, well, that's smart business. It's like a little guy sucker punching someone and hiding behind a big giant guy. It's just such little kid child bitch behavior that just drives me nuts, and it drives people nuts, and we can see through it. Here's the thing with WWE. They understand that fans are smart, and so they're innovative in trying to figure out ways to work smart fans. Right? That's why they do the little graphical Punk in the background shit, because they know people are going to dissect it, and they do the little, like with the Bray Wyatt thing and the Punk thing. Oh, is that an X in the background? Yep, turns out it is. That's how they work the smart marks, the smart fans, because they know we're all smart. So they're innovative. They're trying to figure out new ways to do that while staying true to like prying on emotions and heel versus babyface. Whereas in AEW, they just treat everyone like they're fucking dumb. They treat everyone like they're little children, and it's offensive. Like, we don't see through this bullshit that's going on here, and Tony Khan, we'll talk about it in a bit. He starts taking heat, and then the tweets come out. It's like clockwork. We know how this shit runs, and they think like we don't understand it. It's just like, they really need someone with a backbone there, and just stop talking about WWE. Stop doing So MJF's whole gimmick is just talking about and putting WWE over and then redoing old WWE shit. Austin with the ambulance, the Bret Hart thing backstage. That's what they do. They're never going to grow doing that. It's like people made fun of TNA, WWE Light. At least they tried to do their own shit. At least they're doing their own thing. At least they never just like blatantly, maybe there's a couple things that were similar, but there was never like so much. They didn't have Jericho try and redo his match with HBK and the whole angle after shittily, thinking it's cool in another company. Like, if this company's so great. And here's the thing too, again, you see all the AEW fans, oh, Christian and Edge, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be the most WWE match ever with a Canadian destroyer thrown in, and you guys are gonna love it. Why? Because it's gonna be great selling, great pacing, psychology, storytelling, and it's just so funny. The greatest match to this day in AEW history is arguably still Rhodes versus Rhodes, Cody versus Dustin. Why? Because it was fucking storytelling, so it's just so funny. Like, MJF's so great, his match was so great. Why? Because he's at least telling a story. God, it's just, some people get it, some people don't. But anyways, he's like, I got a poster of Samoa Joe and blah, blah, blah. I think Joe comes out, or maybe not, but the lights go out. Ooh, the lights go out all the time in AEW. Who gives a fuck? The lights flicker. It looks like retribution. A bunch of guys in black masks show up with the devil logo on their backs. They hold MJF down. They're going to beat him up. Joe's music hits. He sprints at the ring. All four men run away when like they could just fight them. Whatever. All good. Yeah, more mystery. This was just cheesy. It was just like, I don't know, just talking about WWE and little fat jokes and shit like that, And then, yeah, MJF accepts a challenge so he's going to tag with Samoa Joe against these devil guys next week, whoever they are. So I don't know, maybe very soon we finally discover who the devil is. I'm pretty convinced it's going to be Jack Perry, Britt Baker, Sammy Guevara, maybe not Guevara, but it's going to be like a faction of people. It's not just going to be one person. Or like they'll be like the main devil guy, but I don't know, man. Maybe it's Adam Cole with Jack Perry. Who knows? But anyways, we get Wardlow and AR Fox. It's a squash match. Wardlow wins, obviously. We get a trios match. So we get Dante Martin is back, the guy who twisted his leg around. And they replayed it, and they're just like, this is grotesque. If you're weak, like faint, if you're weak in the stomach, don't watch this. It's just like, bro. So yeah, they show his brutal injury. He comes back. He fights the Hardys, Top Flight and Action Andretti, who fills in for whichever brother's hurt at the time, fought the Hardys and Brother Zay. Top Flight wins. We're going to talk about the Hardys in a bit. Penta El Zero teams up with Commander now and El Hijo. They're going to challenge in a 6-man tag match on Rampage. They're going to take on Top Flight. So this went viral as well. AEW botches, shout out AEW botches. They botched some dive like horrifically, and Vikingo on Rampage. He went to dive over the rope. For some reason, Aubrey Edwards is standing on the bottom rope while they're doing this. It's like, why are you standing on the ropes? Like, why are you in the way? Like, what's the explanation? Why are you standing on the ropes, Aubrey? Oh, well, I'm in the way. Why the fuck are you in the way? Jesus, go stand in a corner. Like, God. So, and people go, oh, because there's 3 people diving. Well, why are there 3? Why? Like, why is that happening? So Vikingo catches himself on the top rope in the chest. Looked brutal. Falls to the floor. It's so ugly. When I watched Rampage, I can't remember if they tried to edit around that or edit it out. To be honest, they edited out Flair shit that triggered everyone, but nonetheless, man, it was just, I don't know. They just ruined the aura of Vikingo. Like, what's wrong with having a junior heavyweight or a cruiserweight division and having Orange Cassidy and Vikingo and Danhausen and all those guys compete in like a serious cruiserweight division? Like, what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that, man? They just ruined the aura of Vikingo. I was such a Vikingo mark as well before they came in and went dream match, and they just buried it. Like, you're stepping on your own dick. Like, don't say dream match. Let him just come out and show everyone what he can do. God damn it. So Julia Hart fights Emi Sakura. Hart's a dime to dime. She brings the ratings up a bit. I was looking at the quarter hours, but not only that, but her work's not like her fucking moonsault looks like it shoot hurts. And I think it was house rules, so she locked in a fucking submission. And the commentary's putting over how much the heart lock or the whatever the fuck the heart stretch means, the heartache means to Julia Hart, this submission hold. And then when she locks it in, the ref goes, no, it's house rules, she can't tap. So then she just beats her with a moonsault. It's like, what the fuck? So there's no tap outs in house rules. Okay. Why didn't you, like, as commentary putting over this submission, like, why didn't you just tap the girl out with the fucking move? So RJ City interviews Mariah May. And then we got the patriarch Christian Cage. He responds to Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland goes live on air and says, go fuck yourself. And the censor botches. And the guy says, fuck, live on the air on television. Sipping tea, sorry. So the neckbeards are going to go, oh, that's great. This is our wrestling. He said, fuck. He said, fuck. Bro, yeah, I don't know, dude. With apparently WB and all that, Warner, they're looking at taking over Raw or WWE or putting it on their network to some degree. They already work with them in the UK. This ain't a good look, you know? This ain't a good look. It's fine. I'm not triggered by it. I'm not as mad as some people. Again, the Melties, they look for anything to attack. Not a good look at all. So Swerve Strickland in the main event takes on Switchblade Jay White. A great fucking match, man. I love both of these guys, honestly. Jay White hit the Blade Runner. Swerve gets out of the ring, though, ends up countering a second Blade Runner, rolls up Jay White, pins him with a roll-up. Swerve's over his shit. They got to push this guy, man. They're going to give him this tournament, I think, as a consolation prize. We said it on last show. Jay White is not too happy with his booking, but I don't know. I don't know, man. He should just go murder Orange Cassidy and become the international champion. That's right there on the table. You guys leave so much on the table. Overall, Dynamite was whatever. Swerve is the shit. This match was awesome. It went overtime, which we're going to talk about in a bit because it caused a huge argument between Meltzer and Alvarez, and I just think it's cute and hilarious. Moving along from Dynamite, overall, this Dynamite was actually really good. If they pace all the shows like this, packages like this, they format it like this, besides the MJF shit, to me, it was all really good. And it's crazy I'm saying that because I love MJF, but let's move along to... So I'll talk about Collision really quick first. It was what it was. They had more Gold League matches and shit. They're trying to get you invested in watching each show. Most people aren't going to do that. And they ruined Rampage by, I've said this before, but Collision used to kick off and then the people in like the main and the co-main would get the intro talking to the camera bit. Now they start Collision off with everyone who wrestles on the card does their little promo. They ruined it. They had a good thing that you can tell Punk and Ace Steel came up with, and now, oh, let's improve upon this. And they just ruined it. So Collision was whatever, too. I'm not going to spend more time on these shows. So SmackDown, I wanted to talk about because Randy Orton shows up on SmackDown. We had Logan Paul show up. This was a solid show as well, just based off of like Logan Paul, and then you had Orton in the final segment, which was so good. So Bianca Belair kicks off the show. Damage Control comes out without Bayley, so Dakota Kai's like taking control, as their theme music says, you know, and she's like, Bayley's nowhere to be seen, and I don't know, they're gonna kick her ass out soon. Bayley's been cryptically tweeting to Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Moné, a return perhaps for Sasha Banks / Mercedes Moné to WWE. Hey, it would be better than doing whatever she was doing. This is my prediction. I think we see Moné do a one-off in AEW and then shock everyone by showing up in WWE right after. Yeah, give myself an X-Files. But yeah, the show kicks off with Butch versus Bobby Lashley. Butch is riding solo too. Ridge Holland's not rocking with him anymore. Lashley's the fucking man. They need to do him versus Brock for the in a fight pit. Just do that one already. That was the one everyone wanted to see. The Street Profits being with Bobby, they fumbled this. No one gives a shit. The Street Profits should be with MVP. And just bring MVP back to manage these guys and put them with BFAB and shit. Who cares, you know? Bring Adonis in with them too. Who cares? Make a new faction, you know? Because, like, what does BFAB and Adonis do? And Ashante's a great worker. And then BFAB's like, whatever, but she keeps showing up on TV. So what's going on? You know, let's see it play out. What's happening? And yeah, so Lashley defeats Butch with a big spear. And I don't know, man. The crowd was hot as shit, and Butch was booked really strong. So then we got Santos Escobar versus Joaquin Wilde. Escobar just squashes Wilde, more or less. Carlito doesn't show up. We get Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis teasing, like, yo, we are going to sign Randy Orton, you know? So now that Logan Paul's the United States champion, he, of course, comes to SmackDown, where this title belongs, although I don't think it matters. I think he can go to either show. But I love this. I love that they're like, no, like Orton and Punk are free agents. They're going to show up on each show. It's like, it reminds me of the old, like, Heyman Stephanie, the old Eric Bischoff, Stephanie McMahon brand split rivalry. Hopefully they stick true to this brand split. My thing, I've always pitched this, is that the champions, so you get the undisputed champion goes on both shows. The Intercontinental Champion and United States Champions are the only brand exclusive. So, like, okay, the IC belt, Fox, that's more of an international network, if you will. The Intercontinental Champion is on Fox, only representing SmackDown. The US Champions on the USA Network, only representing Raw, right? Or vice versa. And then the tag champions are on both shows. The cruiserweight champions on both shows. The women's champ is on both shows. The women's tag champs on both shows. And then that way the titles feel like when you win one, it comes with more responsibility, more prestige. You have to go out there and fight two rosters that are gunning for you. And then the brand exclusive is the US and the IC titles. And then when you do house show loops, you have those belts there for when Roman or whoever the undisputed champ can't be there for the big shows, and then you can call in the other champs and divvy them up however you want. I think that is the way to go, you know, because like we all know in wrestling, more money, more dates, the champion carries a bigger load. They're a fighting champion. It automatically means more when you win a title, you know, because you got to appear on both shows. But then the person who's like, you know, Rollins's title, it's weird because it's a world heavyweight one, so keep them all separate. But it's like, if that belt, like Rollins should be just like the IC champ or the US champ, just holding it, not to disparage this world heavyweight title or that run. I love that they introduced those, but it's just like he should just be the Raw guy, and we all know whoever has that belt is like runs that fucking show, you know, like they're the top dog of that show particular, whereas the other champs float around. That's always been my pitch, but that's only if you take the hard brand split seriously. So anyways, Logan Paul returns, cuts a fucking great promo, man. And then Waller and Theory come out. Owens comes out, and they like broke his hand. Now they're working it like it's a shoot, work, shoot, brother. I don't think his hand's really hurt. I think it's a work. But yeah, man, Logan Paul's just super over. And Owens is great on the mic as well. And pairing these two up is going to be great. Owens takes on Waller in a match. Logan Paul's on commentary. He's so great on commentary. And also Logan Paul names 8 dudes. He puts over the whole fucking roster and sets up a tournament, and the winner's going to get a shot at his title. I love this. The AEW marks are a tournament with no Nope. Again, we talked about it earlier. You guys don't get it. This is like a league, bro. It's like a division. This is the United States title division that's been established as this division. And since there's no clear number one contender in this division, Logan Paul, who's also like a money guy, you know, he's like, I call the shots, and like, we're going to put this division on notice, and whoever can come out on top is the clear number one contender. Okay? It's very obvious. It's very easy to comprehend. Yeah, they stomped on Owens' hand, basically, Theory and Waller did. and his hands broke. I don't really believe in it. Now, more news. So I guess that goes along with this next match. Bianca Belair takes on Kairi Sane, and people are saying Bianca sandbags Kairi, and it seems like Charlotte and Bianca sandbag fucking Kairi. These girls don't know how to work with her. And I think Charlotte has boo-boo face and doesn't like selling for Kairi. And I think Bianca just isn't that good in, and people are going to go, what the fuck? But she's just not good in a sense of like, okay, to her, this is like a gymnastic routine. It's like move, 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 spot, move, 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 spot, move, move. But wrestling, when you really click and you really get wrestling, it's the performers who understand that selling is super important. It's the people who understand that it's not a fucking routine. Like, it's also a simulated fight. So yes, you have your outline of your match and the moves you're going to do, but how you get there should be able to change, or you should be able to add or remove this or that on the fly just by feeling the crowd and understanding this is like a fight. Bianca doesn't make you feel like it's a fight. It just feels like it's move, move this, move, move that. So whereas Kairi is very much like in the moment, fluid, she looks like she's trying to fight you, Yeah, so I think that's on Bianca. Like, it's how many people, Kairi for the most part works well with everybody. There's a handful of people where Bianca looks awkward working them, like every time she works them, and that's on her, man. I get why she's super over. I'm not even shitting on her work. And she's a tremendous athlete, dude. Like, such a valuable asset of WWE for sure. But I put that more on her than Kairi. I gotta be completely honest. So match was what it was. Belair pins Sane, and people were mad at that too. I can't believe Kairi lost. Well, what do you think she's coming in to do? Oh, she left upset and come back and just gonna beat everyone. Like, no. So Randy Orton in this final. So here's the money. This is the money segment right here. Randy Orton, this stuff was so good. It just reminded me of, like I said before, I've been replaying SmackDown Shut Your Mouth on for PlayStation 2. And just in my spare time, before bed, I'll throw it on for half an hour quickly. And god damn, man, I've been playing through the story mode, and just you draft the brand split. So I picked Stone Cold, and I drafted on behalf of SmackDown, and I drafted like all the big names. Whereas on Raw, Ric Flair, he drafted like all of the, like, the up and coming guys at the time, like Edge, RVD, like these type of guys, right? Like a roster to build upon. And so I picked Stone Cold, and the first storyline, which I forgot because I hadn't played it in years, they go, who do you want to sign with? Like, you can either sign with Raw or SmackDown, right? And I was going to sign myself up with SmackDown because I drafted for them, but then just storyline-wise, I had to keep kayfabe, brother. And so I'm like, well, Vince is trying to sign me to SmackDown. Fuck that. So I hit him with a stunner.
Nope.
And
what?
Yeah, dude, I picked Raw. So it's like Team Raw, and now we're getting into like invasion type shit. So it's like Austin carrying Raw on his back, leading the Young Charge against like Angle and Big Show and all the big names, like Mark Henry and fucking Benoit and Jericho. They're The Rock. They're all on the other show. Meanwhile, it's like Austin with Lesnar and RVD and Edge. I don't know. It's awesome. I'm popping for that. If you guys are in the Discord, man, I'll start and on YouTube there. I'm going to start streaming me gaming that shit live. Anyways, though, Orton, he's going to sign his contract. So it's basically Pierce and Aldis come out there, and Aldis just drops a bar that's so heavy. He goes, they're trying to convince Orton who to sign with, and I had a feeling this was going to happen. And Aldis goes, because I think Punk, sorry, not to jump around, but Punk I think is going to go to Raw. Aldis drops the bomb. He goes, I can give you what you want. I can give you Jimmy. I can give you Solo. And earlier in the night, Aldis told Heyman, like, yeah, you don't call shots around here, bro. Like, if you don't like it, bring Roman Reigns here. He can come talk to me. So this is like a new era, just adds another layer of like, Aldis ain't going to put up with the bloodline shit. I don't know, man. This is great shit. Now we got Orton on SmackDown. Yeah. So I'm marking out if you guys can't tell. But anyways, this segment was so good. Everyone on the stick was good. The timing, the facials, every little thing about this was great. And so Orton is just fire on the stick. The crowd's so hot for this man. Fucking Solo, Heyman, and Jimmy interrupt. Jimmy Uso. Whatever. The shit goes down. Solo, I think, gets clotheslined over. I can't remember what happens. He gets punched or he just doesn't even climb up. He just stays away. But either way, Jimmy eats a fucking RKO. Jimmy Uso. When the show went off air, he was still laying there just selling, dude, for like the crew had to like roll him off of the mat. Like he laid there for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes after the show went off the air. Fans caught it on footage. If you go online, you can see it if you go on X and stuff. He's fucking just laying there dead flat like a pancake for so long, dude, selling the shit out of it. Money. And these Usos, man, they just know how to get over on their own merit now too. That's what's so great to see. But basically before the show goes off air, Orton makes a decision. He RKO's Jimmy. He grabs the SmackDown contract. He signs it, right? So he's on SmackDown officially. Aldis comes in the ring to celebrate with Orton. Pardon me. He holds Orton's arm up. He's like, yeah, he signed with me. And these two guys did this so good. They didn't make it look obvious. They didn't fucking blow up their spot. They didn't step on their own dicks. And Aldis sold this like $1 million. He's like, yeah, you know, Randy's here. And he's kind of looking around. Orton out of nowhere hits him with an RKO. Dude, and I'm telling you, like, Aldis got height on this shit. Like, you could tell he was just waiting to bump his ass off in a WWE ring. Let's give a round of applause to fucking Nick Aldis, man. His first WWE bump in a WWE ring. And dude, he was waiting to do that. And it was phenomenal. He sold his ass off. He's laying there flatter than a pancake. Orton gets up and he's like, ooh, sorry. Like I had to do it. And again, to bring it back to SmackDown, shut your mouth. I stunnered fucking Vince. I signed Ric Flair's deal. Ric Flair's cheering. I stunnered his ass too right after because that's what you do. What? And Randy Orton, man, of course, like, you know, we should have saw it coming. It popped me. Best way to go off air. And then they announce, you know, next week, CM Punk will be on SmackDown. And fuck you, Dave Meltzer, trying to say that people aren't excited for people are going to be mad when Punk isn't there. You guys, grow the fuck up. They're fine. WWE's so hot right now. Either adding Punk or not adding Punk doesn't change anything other than, yes, they'll sell tickets. And that's the thing. WWE's like doing like 11,000 on average this year or something for live televisions. And Meltzer's like, well, they sold an extra 1,500 tickets the week of, and that's going to... Okay. You know what I mean? Like, okay, who gives a fuck? And Punk could be there. He could do a run out. What if he does a run out? What if someone's brawling out? What if Judgment Day sticks their nose in some shit and Punk hits the fucking ring? And he goes, oh, didn't tell you I was going to be like, what? Like, you know, you guys are like Meltzer and them. They're fucking up. So let's get into the news, the hot news, the drama, the headlines. Green tea and water, folks. It's the way to go. So let me hit the news. So none of this stuff's breaking or anything, but basically I touched on a lot of things as I reviewed first. And the reason for that is because, you know, there's a little rumblings around. So earlier in the show, I talked about, you know, Drew McIntyre allegedly was upset about, you know, Punk coming in, and then he cuts this promo, You know, he tweeted out, like, he's not featured on the Royal Rumble poster. And he's tweeting out, and people are like, damn, they did him dirty. Even WWE diehards are like, what the fuck? And Drew's quote tweeting it and goes, see what I'm talking about? And guys, it's a work, man. It's a fucking work. They're working so well. They're leaving Drew off of the poster. Like, he's going to go into the Scottish psychopath you all want. He's going to start killing everyone. But you got to give these things time, man. Yeah, Drew, this is all a part of his story arc. Drew said it when he came back, when everyone was like, Drew Galloway's going to AEW. He said it. He's like, dude, yes, I'll turn heel, but it has to make sense. My character's too big. They have me doing Special Olympics shit. I can't just go heel. Like, there's got to be a story. That's what he said. So give it some months. They have the story. Triple H says it. He says he's more interested in telling the story than the flips and moves and the carnage and the bullshit. And so Drew McIntyre was left off of the Royal Rumble poster which is also CM Punk's first wrestling poster in like a decade for WWE. But McIntyre was left off the poster intentionally, you guys. They're building up to he's underappreciated. He's this guy that whatever. Remember what they did with Austin Theory? They literally played a fucking Beyblade commercial during his entrance and he fucking won the title. You know, they're swerving us, man. They're just WWE's operating on a whole other level. And this isn't old school Vince pal where we in 5-10 years people are going to look back as, oh yeah, you're going to have those fucking Captain Hindsights on X going, yeah, you know, Triple H really ate because he really saw the fucking writing on the wall and he was really, the changes started here. That's what people are going to be doing, Captain Hindsight bullshit. You guys, don't be worked. They left Drew off of the Rumble poster intentionally. It's called character work. It's called a story. So speaking about talent tweeting things out, so, you know, Tony Khan's clearly going through it with Punk debuting because we had a bunch of people ragging on him online and going, you know, dude, you guys fumbled Punk. And then we had all the wrestlers tweeting shit out about Tony going like, no, we like Daniel Bryan's like, I love AEW, and everyone's going, AEW's the best. And you can tell it's just like clockwork, right? As soon as the people are going, dude, what the fuck? You guys fumbled Punk for Jack Perry. And then all of a sudden the wrestlers come out, no, AEW's the greatestest. It's the bestest. And, you know, they do this over and over again. These guys come tweeting out, and good, like tweet and support your guy, tweet and support your company. But just, I just find it's just very telling. Like, is Tony telling them to do shit, or, you know, are they just doing it on their own merit? I really can't tell, but you can tell Tony's going through it, and I don't want to beat him up. But then what happens is Bryan Danielson ends up getting thrown under the bus. So basically, Fightful and all these guys are reporting, which I don't know how anyone trusts them ever. And even Danielson shot them down, so they're wrong about this too. But all of a sudden it starts coming out, Danielson was the one behind the firing of CM Punk. And he led a committee of 3 people, and he headed it. And he was the reason that CM Punk was let go. And Meltzer reported this, Fightful reported all this bullshit. And then what did Danielson do? He shot that down entirely. And Danielson's so beloved that either he said, yes, I'll take this hit, or they just know like he's so goddamn beloved that we'll just throw him under the fucking bus and let him take the heat to get heat off Tony, who's clearly going through it, man. And it fucking sucks for Tony, but like, get your goddamn company in order. Like, how much longer? Like, I just want to ask Tony, how much longer does this have to go before you realize, like, okay, maybe someone else should just take the reins? I'll just go book Ring of Honor, get my rounds in, and then I'll come back to this when I'm really confident and I know it works and I know what doesn't. You know, it's pretty crazy. So I just want to play Danielson's statement, just destroying all these fucking dirt sheets who fucking said he headed this committee to fire Punk. Now the heat's on Danielson. And then you got fucking WWE and AEW fans shitting on Danielson now. Like, come on. But yeah, here we go. This is
recent report. It's
Bryan
a website
Danielson.
called Fightful. Had this report, Brian, that there was like a 3-person sort of committee who was deciding the fate of CM Punk in AEW. They're reporting that you were part of the committee, and the committee decided CM Punk should not be with AEW anymore. That report just came out a day or 2 ago. Is it true?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a part of the disciplinary committee, and clearly
that's
what
cringe,
happened
by the
has
way.
happened.
Why the fuck
You know
is
what
there
I
a
mean?
disciplinary committee? Why the fuck is that? Like, why is wrestlers on the disciplinary committee? And especially when he goes, just listen to what he says, but it's like, especially if what Danielson says, if that's the case, then what the fuck?
I'm somebody who I like CM Punk. You know, I think he brought a lot to AEW while he was there. But, you know, there's not a lot I can say about it, or that I really want to say about it. But yeah, I am a part of it. It's really funny because there is, you know how the internet is. Like, it's like some people would say I was the head of the disciplinary committee. And I'm like, listen, I'm there were more than 3 people involved in this decision, but most of them were all lawyers. to say that I was the head. I don't even have a college degree. I'm not in there bossing people around or anything like that. It's just like, well, okay, you know. So yeah, but yeah, I am part of the disciplinary committee.
Was that difficult as someone who likes Punk and is a friend of his? Was it difficult to be a part of that committee where the decision is that he should leave?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And as somebody who,
Great
you
question.
know, I have a lot of empathy, but you know, I'm grateful for the time he was able to spend in AEW, and you know, he did a great job for us.
Oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? Huh? What? Who? What?
What?
Danielson has empathy for Punk. So he has empathy. Why? Because he probably can see where Punk's coming from. He just doesn't agree with the way Punk went about handling this shit. But I'm telling you, man, the grass ain't always greener, and we'll talk about that with the Hardy Boys more. Danielson, here's his last.
And so, yeah, I wish him the best in his future, and I hope, you know, that his run there goes well.
And good for Danielson, you know. And people, are just running with people are just trying to shit on Danielson and whatnot. It's shitty that he had to catch heat for that. Yeah, Fightful goes, heading the AEW disciplinary committee is a continued duty for Bryan Danielson, as he's also responsible for handing out fines when necessary. Like, you guys are getting lied to. You guys pay these people for lies. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So we talked about, jumping the gun there with a little Meltzy. So we talked about the grass ain't always greener. And speaking of which, QT Marshall resigned. And rumors are going around, and some people I follow were going, you know what, man? What if WWE purchases the Nightmare Factory? Which wouldn't be surprising. QT Marshall hasn't removed AEW from any of his profiles because it's effective in the new year at the end of 2023. We'll read his statement here. But before I do, just bear in mind, Cody's there, Jade's there, Ricky Starks, I don't know, he's leaving, going to WWE. He's there working with Jade, training at the Nightmare Factory. And I just see them all going to WWE eventually. And QT, I mean, he'd be a good guy to have in NXT, working with young talent and scouting and cultivating people through the Nightmare Factory. I know some people might scoff at that, but you guys it's the booking in AEW. That's what it is. It's not like Pentagon's not a good fucking wrestler. It's not like Jay White sucks. It's fucking the booking. It's the writing. It's the creative. You know, these guys are wrestlers. They go out and wrestle. You got to be able to book and create better, you know? Anyways, so QT Marshall says, at QT Marshall, thank you to AEW. Thank you, Tony Khan. I've had the privilege of being here since day one, and I've written over 750 formats for All Elite Wrestling, and always with pride. As much as I've enjoyed being a VP, manager of talent relations, and wearing a myriad of hats, that's the problem, guys. The company has changed a lot since 2019 and is heading in a different direction, and I feel that it's best I do the same, as we only get one chance to go all in. I have officially resigned from AEW and will have fulfilled all of my obligations by the end of 2023. Thank you to everyone from the front office to the production truck to some of the hardest working talent in this sport. Most importantly, thank you to those who booed, cheered, and took a part in this season of my life. I like how people are calling it seasons now. That's like the in thing to do. To further lend to that, Undertaker talks on his podcast, 6 Feet Under with Mark Calloway, if Goldust is Hall of Fame worthy. And let me cue this up here.
We've got to get chicken in.
And they're talking about Goldust, aka Dustin Rhodes. So here, this is Undertaker, what he's saying, and the look on his face says more than even the words he's speaking. So he's asked, is Goldust Hall of Fame worthy? Here's the Undertaker's response.
Yeah. No, this is a semantics thing at this point.
Yeah.
I would imagine at some point down the road, Rhodes, get that? See how I did that?
Oh yeah, boy, I'm
clever. I'm clever today.
You're made for this.
I am made for this.
Yeah.
I got a face for radio. He is. I think his resume is is Hall of Fame worthy.
Yep.
Obviously, we know the one stickler right now.
Yeah.
The one stickler right now, he's in AEW, and he just shrugged it off. So, guys, it's not like I'm talking out of my ass here. I put these pieces together so you don't have to. But, yeah, man, we're going to play more of this, but Jade's there. Ricky's traded with Jade. The Nightmare Factory. Cody Rhodes is an American Nightmare. He's got the logo tattooed on his neck. Goldust ain't really on T. They brought him out in Texas because he's from Texas. So bring him out when they're in Texas. That's how they know how to book. It'll be great.
At some point, that goes away.
Sorry. Cody's on the ship, right? Cody, we're a ship. We're working together. So the Nightmare Factory's not a part. He's not going to try and get his people WWE jobs. Let's be real. Undertaker shrugs off AEW and goes, and once that eventually goes away. So just look into what they're saying and how they're saying it.
And I think at some point that goes away, and then I couldn't see too much time probably going by that he wouldn't be inducted.
I mean, you want to talk about a man that is dedicated to this.
He's like, I couldn't see too much time going by. So basically he's going, yeah, Goldust, when you come back home, you will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So speaking of legends who should be inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Hardy Boys, man. I'm going to read a couple of their statements. I don't know. They did a podcast together. And now AEW fans, you got these people like at AIR Gold and shit. Like just these fucking AEW cultists, man. And they're just, Jeff Hardy's been featured a bunch and it's not AEW's fault. Like this is how dumb these fucking morons are. They think that being put in matches and just put on TV and then there you go. That's how that's being used correctly and getting opportunities. Motherfucker, the Hardy Boys are giving AEW an opportunity, not the other way around, right? When Edge goes to AEW, it's not AEW giving Edge an opportunity. It's Edge giving AEW an opportunity to use him and turn their fucking company around. It's up to them whether they choose to do that or not. When the Hardy Boys come in and they're hot as shit, and you don't use them, that's on you. That has nothing to do with the fucking Hardys, bro. And then now they're trashing them. Oh, they haven't looked good. Okay, but when everyone was saying Jeff wasn't looking good, you marks were all going, he's a legend. It's so fucking annoying, these people, dude. And they're just eating themselves alive because this is what's killing AEW. This is what's killing AEW is them doing this to themselves. I digress once again. So Matt Hardy talking about his creative frustration with his brother Jeff in AEW. We talked about Jay White. Maybe there's a little smoke to that fire. So Matt Hardy's the Hardys are being smart because the WWE guys or the AEW fans are going to go remove the rot, remove the cancer. If they don't want them to be there, let them go, fight back, Tenny. But they're so dumb that they just don't understand that they're fighting back by handing WWE all these things that just bury them further. And they don't get that because they don't get the wrestling business. So anyways, Matt Hardy, this is via at WrestleLamia. Quote, I mean, just creatively, like just the way we've been utilized like the last 4 months. It's been very frustrating. We've been very patient, but there has been a lot of frustration, things we've done and kind of how we've been utilized in some ways. He also went on to say like they feel like a ghost. They feel like they've been ignored and like ghosts. So Jeff Hardy now said, quote, this is via at Backup Hangman. When I first came back to AEW, it was pretty exciting. I didn't know what was going to be happening in the near future, but I think the last time I was in this extreme dimension of y'all's podcast, I said that in WWE, I felt like I was a ghost. Oh, pardon me. So I read that quote wrong. He said that about WWE. Just walking around backstage. Honestly, man, I kind of still feel like that at AEW, so I was correct. He feels the same way, just because of not being involved in something cool. I feel like there's something so special that we, the Hardys, have within us to really bring out. And he's fucking right, man. He's right. I don't know. Everyone thinks that Tony kind of tampered with the Hardys and Jeff walked out of that match knowing he would piss clean or whatever, and then they would get fired and let off so they could go to AEW. But then, like, I think this is why the Bucks are throwing temper tantrums. I think they're being told no, we have to start steering this ship this way. And, yeah, they had the Hardys, man, and they fumbled it. I'm not going to keep bringing this up all these fucking fumbles though constantly. Like, how many fucking things are you going to fumble before you get it right? Speaking of fumbling, AEW also, they've been running overtime on their last couple of Dynamites, and people are arguing that on some platforms like YouTube TV, they don't record the overtime, the overlay. Well, you'll hear the argument, and basically at the end of the day, it boils down to Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez have been snipping at each other lately, and Alvarez isn't seeming like he wants to just be shilling all the time, and Meltzer's going, it seemed like for a minute he was starting to sway, but now he's working overtime, trashing Punk, saying fans are going to be mad, like just literally saying fans will be mad at the arena if Punk's not there. Like, just a blatant, just a fucking idiot, man. This guy just makes shit up. He talks out of his ass. He's like people say Cornette and Dutch Mantel and shit are out of touch. Nobody's more out of touch than Dave fucking Meltzer. Nobody's as out of touch as this guy, period. And Alvarez is catching on. And I think, again, AEW's going in that direction. So Alvarez isn't going to stooge for them because like these guys talk good about people who shill to them, you know? Like if you're a guy, like when Britt Baker's backstage going, oh, I hope Meltzer gives it 5 stars, they're going to favor her. Like, obviously, we know this. They're friends with the Young Bucks and shit. We know this. Dude's wrestled Orange Cassidy before and shit. Okay? So we know this. But at the end of the day, if they're not stooging as much, which it seems like they're not, and these guys are getting hate from everywhere, and they've been caught up in, they were wrong about Punk. Meltzer was wrong about Cena wrestling Roman at Crown Jewel. They're wrong about the backstage shit. They're wrong about Daniel Bryan and the disciplinary committee. They're wrong about everything, and they're taking people's money. I mean, this is what's happening. These people are eating each other. They're eating each other alive because you cannot. There's an old saying about lying, like a wise man can't keep a lie forever. No man smart enough to keep a lie forever. Anyways, these guys get in an argument about something that's just clearly Dave's just in the wrong on this. And I just found this so fucking hilarious. And now these guys are in a little bitch fit. These guys argue about whether AEW is responsible for, you know, programming in this extra chunk of time because live sports. So like every argument Dave Meltzer makes here gets destroyed because he says like, well, live sports don't do it, but live sports do it on YouTube TV. And Dave's just like, he just has this elitist attitude. It's just what we say all the time about AEW. Like, it's mine. Well, you just have to know. Just learn. If you don't know, you have to do your Googles. And just listen to this because it's fucking hilarious, man. And I told you guys this was going to start happening more and more. Again, call me Mystic Mac. I predict these things.
System, whatever you want to use the point system to get to your desired result is fine. He's laid out the whole tournament. I know people don't believe that. Everything is, you know. I mean, injuries may screw this whole thing up, but
he's talking about the
everything from
Continental
start to
Classic
finish
here
is laid out already. Because you have to. You can't do this without laying it out first, because you'll never get to where you want to go. Okay, so anyway, don't think it's too confusing.
As well.
Here we go. Sorry, let's jump ahead. Meltzer's fucking so annoying.
But I do have to get a negative out of the way. Somebody in AEW needs to contact YouTube TV and probably some other providers as well, and either stick to the damn 2 hours.
Yep.
Or let them know when you're going to do an overrun.
Well,
because for the second week,
I tweeted out, man, you know that fucking CM Punk shifted the axis of the pro wrestling multiverse when I'm sitting here agreeing with Alvarez. Jesus Christ.
In a row, I did not see the end of the main event.
Okay, so here's the deal.
But you know what, Dave? Hold on.
Yeah.
NXT went 16 minutes over. No problem.
Yeah, you know why?
Zero problem.
Yeah, because NXT that's built into the show.
No. Their overrun is 9 minutes.
Okay.
It's 9 minutes every week. They go 9 minutes over every week. This week they went 16 over and everything recorded.
Okay, but what that means is that
they scheduled a 16-minute overrun.
They knew days in advance when this thing went down that it would be. With AEW, when they do these overruns, the overruns are I don't say decided. They take place as the show is going on.
So this is what Jim Cornette pointed out. I heard him. He was listening. He did this. He reviewed this clip as well or whatever. It's everywhere. You got to talk about it. But yeah, Cornette said he's like, yeah, so I was right again. He's like, they're calling this shit on the fly because they can't get their times down and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And we called it a long time ago too, because you watch AEW All Access. If you haven't yet, guys, go on at Pro Wrestle Clips on YouTube, the main channel there. And I made the video like fucking a year ago, almost at this point, but 10 minutes of Tony Khan. And I clipped every Tony Khan moment from AEW All Access. I clipped it and put it all into a video for you, right? And I watched the whole series twice, man, so I can make this video. So go check that shit out on the YouTube channel. Yeah, you can see that because like Danielson's like, hey, Tony, did I go hard on time? And Tony's like, no, it's great. I gave you more time. No, I let you go hard on time. Like, it's so funny. And it's been out there. That All Access show tells people so much more about this company than people realize.
That's not fine. Because that's a problem. People are missing the end of the show.
Well, they did miss
2 weeks in a row now.
2 weeks in a row.
They did miss the end of what was it? The Moxley and what Moxley match was it? Moxley and Mark Briscoe match.
Yes.
Yeah. They did miss the last couple of minutes of that match for that reason. I mean, I could go say like, look, this is what I do. I do for every AEW. I mean, they're not going to do this on Friday, and they don't have tournament match on Friday. But they are going to do this on Saturday, and they are going to do this on Wednesday, as long as this tournament goes on, because they don't.
So
want to
every
do
fucking match. So like this is why people. Oh, Tony Khan. I feel for this guy, man. If we were friends, dude, we would be friends, dude. I would drink beers with him, White Claws, Addies, all that shit. And I would tell, I'm just joking. I would tell him though, bro, this is why you don't stooge to these guys. Meltzer, you told Meltzer the plan. He stooged Edge for you. He stooges everything. And look at what he's doing. He's stooging that every one of the matches in this tournament is going to be some long fucking drawn out, go over the limit of the time limit of the show. Like he's telling people what your plan is. He just said, oh, the whole tournament's planned out. He's got a winner in mind and it's already been written out. He's like, this is why you don't do that, man. This is why you don't talk to these fucking goofballs. Jesus Christ. They just bury what you're doing before you do it. This is why people don't care.
minute tournament matches or 9-minute tournament matches. So what?
Oh, he doesn't want 9-minute or 6-minute match. Why can't some of them be fucking quick? And that's the other thing too. The pacing of the show is great. Like I didn't feel like any of the tournament matches have gone too long yet, except for the main event ones. But you got to switch it on its ear. Have one of the main event ones go 4 minutes because the guy's real beat up from fucking fighting in so many tournament matches, you know? Like, don't just, he's saying that, literally Meltzer saying as long as the tournament goes on, all the main events are going to go over like this. Well, why would you tell us that? Like, what the fuck? Jesus.
You need to do, as long as the tournament's going on.
Format the show so you have 20 minutes for the main event.
Well, they
did this for 4 years. They entered at the top of the hour for 4 years.
Exactly, training your audience.
So don't tell me they can't do it. Of course they can.
Of course they could, but you adjust on the fly and you cut segments. In this case, they're going to give that main event match. They're going with the plan for the main event match. So what you have to do is you've got to record the next show. You're going to have to do that for the whole tournament.
I can't record the next show. What's the next show? What's the movie going to be next week?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't.
And on YouTube TV, you don't record the time. I don't say record from 10 to 11. It doesn't do it that way. You have to choose the show that you want to record.
Well,
so that means that every week I need to figure out what movie
get cable then.
is going to be playing.
AEW fans are rich and more intelligent, so we figure these things out, and we all have cable. Or is this one of the other many of the million contributing factors, Dave, that factors into why AEW hasn't seen growth? Like, we see what it's at. They need to grow past this. It's not growing, unfortunately. Now, we don't need everything overnight, but after 5 years, goddamn, do we need another 5 years? It'll be around that long for sure. Alvarez is right here, point blank. Like, it's a scripted show. It should go without saying, like, just build it in so people recording it everywhere can record it and you don't have to have this discourse.
After Dynamite.
Is it that hard?
So,
I do it.
that's not my job.
It's my job, and I've done it every week.
Bro,
I missed. Okay.
it's their job to make sure that the viewer can see the whole show. That's their job.
Okay, can I tell you something?
Yes.
You're right and you're wrong. Okay, you're right in the sense that in the perfect world, you're right. You know what? If again, you're not a sports fan, and I am. When I do a sport, you can the sport may go there for 3 hours.
When I
all
do
the
a
time.
sport, the sport might 4 straight hours. What are you talking about,
Constantly,
bro?
if there is, and like MMA, which is the one that I would do most.
Which is the one I would do
Basketball
most.
sometimes, Okay.
Hey, I watch every fucking UFC ever of all time. So
I do
let
those.
me hear
I
this.
always record the next show because you cannot. They're not going
Dave.
to end on time. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. But I'm not going to go and get mad about it. It's like that is my job
Dave.
when I'm watching a sports event. That I have to take into account that the DVR may not record the whole sports event because sports events are not perfect. It's not like it's a sitcom.
Okay, well, this
And-
isn't a sports event. It's a 2-hour scripted professional wrestling show that for
You're
4
right.
hours ended
Like,
in
okay.
exactly 2 hours.
Okay,
so I'm
you're-
positive they can end on time. Or,
Of course.
or
But the point is the
set
point,
it for 15 minutes over like NXT does every
Yeah,
week.
exactly.
And
That's
then
what it
go
is.
ahead and
'Cause
go
sports
over.
has that
Well,
too. Sports
just
just
Plan in
record
advance. If you're going to go 9 minutes over for every tournament match,
But
then
they
let
don't-
them know that you're going to go
they-
9 minutes over.
They don't know. It's
Dave's
not,
like,
the,
well,
the
I
show
just
is
did.
planned.
Well, they don't know. It's not that the show's planned that way. So then, like, we need Orange Cassidy and Hook eating chips this week again, or just cut that and fucking have time for
And
the
to go
match.
2 hours.
know what,
they
Dave?
don't.
If-
They
Oh
don't
my
end on
God.
time. And the difference is that they're not going to do. Okay, here's the deal.
No, hold on. This
No,
is what
no,
you're
no,
They
no,
don't
no,
end
this
on
is-
time.
NXT
Okay, scold people for not hitting their times, man. Fuck.
every week,
Listen to Dave here.
and then go ahead and go over.
That I have to take into account that the DVR may not record the whole sports event because sports events are not perfect. It's not like it's a sitcom.
Okay, well, this
And-
isn't a sports event. It's a 2-hour scripted professional wrestling show that for
You're
4
right.
hours ended
Like,
in
okay.
exactly 2 hours.
Okay,
so I'm
you're-
positive they can end on time. Or,
Of course.
or
But the point is the
set
point,
it for 15 minutes over like NXT does every week, and then go ahead and go over.
well,
Wow.
this-
Plan in advance. If you're going to go 9 minutes over for every tournament match,
Dave.
But they
then let
don't-
them know that you're going to go
they-
9 minutes over.
they don't know. It's not. Look, the show is planned to go 2 hours.
know what,
they
Dave?
don't.
If-
They don't end on time. And the difference is that they're not going to do. Okay, here's the deal.
No, hold on. This
No,
is what
no,
you're
no,
missing.
no, this is-
NXT goes 9 minutes over. They set it for 9 minutes over every week.
Because that's
if the
the
show
plan.
only goes 4 minutes over, it doesn't matter. They didn't go the whole 9. They set a block there, an extra 9 minutes to make sure.
Okay, well, you can
So,
contact.
so trust me, AEW can do this as well.
Jesus.
This is not AEW. This is the station. AEW can't do this, and they have a movie set to start at that time. TBS is allowing them to go over if they need to, like it's a sporting event. Okay.
Okay,
That's the
so
difference.
tell YouTube TV we're going to go 9 minutes over every week, so they record 9 extra minutes, and it's not a problem.
Well, perhaps
That's
they could
it.
do, but they don't know ahead of time. That's the difference. NXT knows ahead of
Just
time.
presume you're
NXT
going 10 minutes over.
Okay, I'm just telling you that you have to review this as a sport, as a live sports event.
Oh,
and a
Dave,
live sports
no,
event,
no,
whenever
no.
you're recording a live sports event, you have to record the next show. That's
Okay, I'm not
No.
watching
telling you that that's the
Dynamite
deal with-
is a live
Wrong.
sporting event. It's a scripted pro wrestling show. If you're
doesn't
going to do
matter.
a tournament that's going to go over, tell them you're going to go 10
Brian.
minutes over every
Brian.
week.
Brian, you can complain all you want. You're just going to keep missing the end of the show.
That's
rather
fine.
than-
I'll miss the end of the show.
Good. Then don't complain about it because
I'm gonna
telling
complain.
you. I'm telling you ahead of time what it is. and I'm
Dave,
telling you
I
how to.
can't record. I can't
Oh,
make
God,
it
you-
record more time. It doesn't allow me to do that.
Record the next show. I can't either.
I don't
can't
know
make
what
it-
the next
Oh
show
my
is. It's
God,
a random
Dave,
movie every week.
fucking- oh my
It's
God.
not that hard to find out. Go to the website and look at the schedule.
Oh
They will
my
just
God.
like I do. They
Dave's
will
got
tell
a
you
fucking.
the movie. It's
Dave's
not,
got a fucking TV guide. He got a TV guide in a phone book.
not that hard, and I go and record that movie. If I forget to do this, it's my fault.
What is that sound? Whoever recorded this has like a fucking baby or something. Yeah, if you guys can hear that, listen for that.
It's not that hard to find out. Go to the website and look at the schedule. They will, just like I do, they will tell you the movie. It's not that hard, and I go and record that movie. If I don't, if I forget to...
You guys hear that? There's like a fucking drum or something playing. That's like in the recording of whoever recorded this. I guess I'm not on the Wrestling Observer YouTube channel.
Do this. It's my fault. It's not their fault because I know the score. Because
like
it's the same thing. Like again, when I watch UFC or Bellator, and if the main event, if I miss the end of the main event because I forgot to record the next show, that is on me. That is not.
Who the fuck records Bellator, man? They just air their shit on YouTube. They're not even a company. They're
on them because I know if in the NBA, if it cuts me off with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter of a close game, that's my fault. That's not their fault. And this is the same. You can say, "Oh, it's scripted,"
Dave,
and you're right. You're right.
It is their fault that they don't just add a 10-minute buffer at the end every week. That's their fault.
Because it's not the plan.
It doesn't matter. If they end at 10, that's
then what's
fine.
The plan,
they still
Dave?
have the buffer just in case.
Okay, guess what?
NXT does it every week, and it's never a problem.
Then why doesn't the NFL, NBA, NHL?
They do it.
Because it's not a scripted show, and it could go a half hour. It could go an hour.
It could go
But they still don't do it. If you wouldn't
they do it.
Wouldn't be in one of these games? Shouldn't they like tell the DVR to go 45 minutes longer so you never miss?
Yeah, they probably should.
They do, and they started doing that so long ago. That's
what they do.
Well, you know what? When we talked about this last week, Dave. Hey, listen. We talked about this last week. Hold on. You told me last week that final quarter died. Am I wrong?
Exactly. Look it up, guys.
Okay,
Look
it's
going
to do that again this week.
Yo, the final quarter plummeted, dude. Off the fucking Niagara Falls, that shit went straight down.
Yes, it is.
Are they happy with that? Or are they going to tell the fans it's their fault that they didn't record the next show?
They're not going to say
anything. That's what they do with everything. That's what they do with everything. Everything's everyone's fault. Oh, you don't like Mariah? You don't know Mariah May wrestles? That's your fault. That's how it's always been there. So yes, Brian.
But you got to learn. Think that could happen with UFC too.
Gotta learn.
That could happen with the
Yo, who the fuck is Vikingo? Well, you gotta learn. Why? How is this a dream match? Well, look him up. Literally have Google. That's what these people do, bro. They live on the internet.
NBA. That could happen with anything. The only problem is that there is a big difference because very few people actually DVR their sports.
Exactly.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
So people are DVRing this show, so maybe you should make sure that they get it so your final quarter doesn't die.
But there are people who do. It's not that difficult.
That's fine. If they want to have a low final overrun
and it's
quarter,
like, Dave, it's not even that he said it's difficult. It's just that it's more difficult than it needs to be, and you're defending it for no reason.
Every week, that's fine with me. Or they could just set it to go 10 minutes over and not worry about it.
And then it goes short. It's not the plan.
Then it goes short. Okay. It's not the plan. Dave's in on the plan of your wrestling company. Imagine owning a wrestling company and Dave's in on your plans, bro. Oh my goodness.
Dummy, yeah.
I don't know how much more I can listen to of this. But.
Oh, by the way, this person says on YouTube TV, sports recordings do have a 30-minute overrun built in.
Boom.
So they actually do it for live sports.
Well,
yeah, and I think DVR is most.
Exactly.
Good.
That's what I'm saying.
Go tell YouTube TV.
Oh my God! I'll email him right
That's
after
what
the
he's
show.
doing.
Tell YouTube TV then.
That's what he's doing. So he can't tell you. So you're the Wrestling Observer, right? And he's telling you, and that's how you guys know the bias. That's how you guys know Dave is never coming from an objective, observing position. He's coming from a position of I'm AEW. Well, I'm a part of AEW. I'm AEW. Tell them. Why are you telling me in AEW? He's not telling AEW. He's telling you, Dave, because you're the Wrestling Observer, but you're actually not. And he's telling you because it's something that should be said in wrestling, and we'll tell YouTube TV. Well, that's what he's doing by broadcasting it on his show, right? God. And he's also maybe telling you in good faith, like, you can tell Tony, Dave, without us stooging it on the show. You could tell him this. Well, it's not the plan. He knows the best. He knows what's best.
Well, I'll complain about it.
You should.
I will. I'm sick of missing the end of this show. That's what I'm saying.
All I know is that I know that with me, I don't watch on YouTube TV. I always have to record the next show when it's any sport event that I want to see. And I don't complain about it. I just do it.
It's not a sport
my
event.
gimmick
It's
is
a
to
fucking
complain.
scripted
And
pro wrestling program.
After
dude.
like the first 3 times when I miss the end of a game, I go, golly.
After the first 3 times, I go, golly, I should learn. You're not smarter than anyone, Dave. You just made a bunch of bad faith, terrible shit arguments. I don't even like throwing that shit around anymore, bad faith. Everyone uses it incorrectly, but it's just, he's literally talking out of his ass. And then, oh, golly, I'm smarter than everyone, Mr. Mensa Meltzer over here.
And the same thing would happen with wrestling. And that's it actually,
about learning,
and actually
that's
it did
fine.
on Collision. It actually did on Collision twice.
Oh, they should learn. So, like, you mean how, like, WWE trains their audience to know, and that's what AEW spent 4 years doing, just to switch gears, and they should learn. Tony thinks buying extra TV time is going to fucking change the war for him. Oh, my goodness, guys. We got to give the Wrestling Observer one of these. That's a tremendous laugh, dude. That's a tremendous laugh. And lastly, speaking of picking up on patterns, my last little thing here, we'll do a quick. Matt Cardona, I think, is slowly dropping all of his belts in all these different indies. You heard it here first. You can check out X. I X'd it out way before. I could see him coming back to WWE. He's dropping all these indie titles one by one slowly, and I don't know, man. I could see it being in the cards for him. Who doesn't want one last WWE run? And he's way more over now. He's always managed to stay over, and who knows, man, him and Chelsea would be a great fucking act in WWE, and Steph DeLander is going to be a huge, huge, huge star one day, whether she stays on the indies or not, but I think WWE will take her back as well. Shout out those guys. Guys, that was the show. I went a little longer than I intended to, but there was a lot to talk about there. Make sure you follow the channel at Pro Wrestle Clips. That's the main channel. Tons of fun shit there. Make sure you hit subscribe and hit the like button. That's the free way to support us. Or you can check us out at the Patreon, patreon.com/ProWrestleTimes, at ProWrestleTimes, everywhere on social medias. Our patrons, Reggie Rodriguez, Mark Hugh the Mark, Ashley V, Russ Paxson, Chris Killis. Oh yeah. Don't forget, guys, to come sign up for the Patreon. We're lowering the cost of the tiers. It'll be cheap, cheap, cheap. We're going to do a free trial here starting next week through to the new year. A couple week free trial. And I hope we get a lot of you to come check it out. Come join in the Discord. Thanks so much for rocking with me. I'm Phil Marks, of course.
Yeah.